One thing the show didn't waste any thinking time on was the episode titles. Today we have The Creature. Aside from the third grade level creativity, it tells us there's a creature. Are we talking megalodon or guppy? The answer is neither. Today's creature is an old friend. Hello, Fluffy. It's been way too long. He's let his hair grow, but we'd know that smile anywhere.
Captain, the hull sensors are picking up a strong electrical field. It's strong enough for a red alert. You'd better turn back.
As usual, he's not too happy about these little pests invading his space.
Skipper!
He has a fairly effective way of letting us know it, too. When I described us as little pests, I'm sure some self-proclaimed alpha male started protesting. We ain't so little. Stand next to that thing, dude. Trust me, we're little. As the Seaview moves in to rescue the divers, this thing puts out another zap that fries enough circuits to bring the boat to a dead stop on the bottom and make her an easy target. Admiral Nelson is away on the flying sub. The flying sub is now the only working piece of equipment they have, so better call him.
We've got to find that life form, Admiral. We can't let it get away again.
Oh, we'll get it, Doctor. Seaview's in the area where it was last detected.
I'm a scientist, not a navigator. You'll have to forgive me if I don't feel as optimistic as you do.
But it's not that difficult. Our electrical sensors have a fix on it. It's only a question of time. Seaview to FS1.
That's Dr. King. No, not that one. This guy is a biologist. We heard him say they can't let this thing get away again, so it's escaped from him before. And he had it in captivity not only because, but how. He seems shocked when Chip reports how big this thing has grown, but right now the priority is getting Crane and Kowalski to safety.
It's grown 1,000 times bigger than the specimen in my lab.
That's quite a thing you created, and then released at sea.
Yes. But the important thing is that it is life, Admiral. Life created from the substance of the sea.
Yes, it's life, and it's dangerous, destructive life. You're looking at that. This is a thing that never should exist. For reasons we can't fathom, he thought making one of these was a good idea. And by the way, he didn't create life. That ain't gonna happen, and I'll tell you the simple reason why. We still don't have a clue what life is. We can talk about DNA and chemicals and everything else, and when you're done with that, explain consciousness to me. I mean, precisely what it is and what the chemical processes are that produce personality. We are not going to create life from not life because we can't even define it well enough. What he's done is recombinant DNA. Gene splicing to make something that evolution never dreamed of building. In other words, that. It's released Captain Crane and Kowalski has reached him. Some careful flying sub maneuvers bring them on board. But there's a problem. The captain isn't breathing. While Kowalski and Dr. King try to administer oxygen, Nelson gets them back to the Seaview where the doctor is waiting. Now, let's all hear a brilliant man make a dumb statement.
I thought I'd lost him. I don't understand what's happened.
I don't need to understand just as long as he's alive.
Give me that again.
I don't need to understand just as long as he's alive.
If you want him to stay alive, you do need to understand to try and keep that from happening again. I'm not sure it occurs to either of these guys that that's a possibility.
Admiral, I'm concerned. Concerned about that creature. It may need attention.
Is that your first concern?
Well, shouldn't it be? After all, the years I've spent at last achieving success, creating life from the substance of the sea, the very purpose of our work. Shouldn't my first concern be for the experiment?
Shouldn't your first concern be that your experiment may have killed a man? I don't think he gets that.
If he dies, I'm going to hold you directly responsible.
That is nonsense, Admiral. There is risk in every important breakthrough. The first space flight, the first submarine. We have to accept risk. Surely you agree to that.
But Crane's condition is the result of a stupid risk that you took when you released that thing into the sea.
I tell you, it was the next logical step. Life had been created, it had to be developed in its own natural environment.
He thinks he's God, or at least he thinks he's now the intelligent designer behind evolution, so he gets to make decisions like that, no matter who gets hurt, or worse.
But not without proper scientific controls. Look at it now. It's huge, with enough shocking power to batter Seaview to the bottom, and it's still growing. And I'm going to destroy it. Missile room.
No, I won't let you do that.
You ain't in charge of this boat, and he will lock you up if necessary, because you crossed a line.
I'm sorry.
His experiment killed the most important man on the boat. Why is he smirking? I do not like this guy so far. Which means Lyle Becker was doing his job. He had a flair for playing villains, especially in westerns. He was the high-class, well-dressed crook who would shake your hand while stabbing you in the heart. He said it could get a little awkward when his kids were little and he'd take them to see one of his movies. It was always a little embarrassing if one of them blurted out, "I hope my daddy wins." He married his sweetheart in 1941, and they were together until she died in 1996. There's not a whole lot about him that stands out in the traditional Hollywood sense, but he lived a steady, happy life with his family, and he gave us performances like we're seeing today. Not a bad legacy. It's almost as if King knew that was going to happen. The doctor says, "I don't know what's going on, and I can't promise he won't die at any moment." On that happy note, Nelson is being called to the control room.
Meet me in the lab in a few minutes and bring your notes.
Which notes do you want?
Specifically those showing the moment when life began in the creature. They may be of some help to Lee.
I'll show you what I have.
He's going to show a lot of people a lot of things, starting with the doctor.
I feel largely responsible for the captain's condition, Doctor. Perhaps there's something I can do.
I don't know what it would be.
I have a specialized knowledge of his condition.
Specialized knowledge?
Yes. It is really the answer to the Admiral's question about how the life force came into the creature. Now, if you will watch the captain closely.
Next, he reveals that he's in the same condition. They're both part of the creature. After a little struggle, so is the doctor. All it takes is a good, solid touch to transfer the whatever it is that takes them over. The unanswered question is, what does it want?
Unbelievable, sir. The scanner indicates the monster has doubled in size again.
In just a few hours.
Shouldn't we kill it now before it grows any bigger?
Well, it has to be destroyed.
What has to be destroyed, Admiral?
This, Lee. Well, I thought that...
That's the happiest surprise he's had in a long time. Now about the creature.
So, this is the big problem.
No, this is very serious.
Surely you're not going to destroy it.
We have to.
I appeal to you, Captain. Would you destroy it?
No, I wouldn't. Definitely not, Admiral.
But you, more than anyone else, knows how dangerous it is.
I do, Admiral, but it's still too important to destroy right now.
There you are. Your own captain agrees with me.
I wonder why. And when it comes to the scientific stuff, Nelson has the final say, not Crane.
All right. We'll try to tranquilize it. Take a sample of the tissue. We'll have that to study while we destroy the main body.
Sounds reasonable. I'd agree to that.
Despite a few harrowing moments, Admiral Nelson, Chief Sharkey, and Dr. King managed to take the flying sub and tranquilize this thing. It's down on the bottom, unconscious. Sharkey and King will go plant a couple of probes on it and collect some tissue samples. On the Seaview, Chip is monitoring the situation.
Take the con, I'll handle it.
But Lee, I know the setup.
I know you do, Chip. Take the con, I'll handle it.
Aye, sir.
Chip is thinking, my captain doesn't do that. Something's going on here.
I'm feeling fine, Doc, thanks. Just a little tired. I may need some help from you in 10 or 15 minutes. I'll be here, Captain.
Help with what and why the doctor? Chip has so many alarm bells going off in his head he can't hear himself think. In the flying sub, King and Sharkey are heading out. Unfortunately, as we saw, King forgot to put his air regulator in his mouth and drowned more or less immediately. In a rare show of solidarity, Chief Sharkey did the same thing and underwent the same fate. When Admiral Nelson realized what these two had done, he formed a committee and created the Darwin Awards. Setting the probes and collecting the samples goes off without a hitch. They're back on board the flying sub. By the way, it's awake. It may not be happy about what you did to it.
Circuits are gone.
It may also be hungry, and you look a lot like a cookie. Thing is, seaweed fronds don't have the strongest muscles in the deep blue sea, so full power to the engines breaks them loose, and they're docking with the Seaview. Gentlemen, the tissue sample is only this big. We don't need all of you guarding it.
Lee, what's happening to all of you? And King?
It's the creature, Admiral. We belong to it. You will, too. And so will the whole crew eventually.
Conversion at the point of a gun. How human. What's the goal? What is this creature's end game? Chip just killed a crewman. He had to, it was self-defense, but I wonder how that's going to weigh on him in the coming months.
Sharky, get their guns. Dr. King over there.
All right. Just what is this?
It's the same thing that's going to happen to you, Admiral. There's no escape for you, or for anyone.
What are you trying to do?
To grow, to expand, to take, to be the whole world, all of life.
And then what? You become the whole world. What do you do with it? What do you do with yourself when there's nothing left to conquer? Human, plant, animal, or alien, nobody thinks that far ahead. They lock all these guys in the brig and set Kowalski to guard them.
We don't know how many of the crew have been taken over.
Wouldn't they all be together?
Let's hope so. Meanwhile, I want all the critical areas sealed off. The missile, the control, engine, reactor rooms, all doors closed and double locked.
Aye, sir. Now, what are you going to use to destroy the creature? Torpedoes?
I can't decide that till I've examined these tissue samples.
Would an explosion kill it? For all they know, it eats kinetic energy for breakfast. It's a basic principle. You have to know your enemy to know how to defeat it. A scraping from it put under the microscope reveals its secret.
It seems to be a system of electrical generating and storage cells. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The system of the electric eel raised to the millionth power.
Yeah, but how does it take over people?
How does it take it? How do I know? Human beings are activated by minute electrical impulses. There must be some kind of relationship.
That makes sense. If those things get into the right pathways, who knows what they could do? But it doesn't matter. They won't hurt us. They just want to be our friends.
The destination of the creature is the Pacific coast. Its size, when it gets there, is almost the size of a city. Its electrical potential, the numbers run off the paper. But it could destroy a city 6 times the size of San Francisco.
When Chip reported that the creature was on the move and still growing, Nelson asked for a computer projection of where it was going and all the rest. One bit of data I didn't hear is when it'll make landfall. How much time do they have to figure out how to kill this thing?
Arm atomic warheads. Close to torpedo range, stand by for firing instructions.
Aye, sir. Load atomic warhead torpedoes 1 through 4.
Aye, sir.
A nuclear explosion or two should vaporize it, right? Most likely.
Fire 1.
Fire 1.
Fire 2.
Fire 2.
And that's why it did something to keep the warheads from detonating. It don't want to be vaporized. Down in the brig, the gang is doing a mind frell on Kowalski. Whatever they're doing to him, he can't withstand the combined assault. He submits and lets them out. Crane knows all the most crucial parts of the ship are sealed off, so Kowalski has a cutting torch. While he's trying to get into the control room, King has another torch and he's working on the lab door. Someone else is trying to get into the missile room where Patterson is by himself.
Are you secure?
Right now I am, sir. But something or somebody's trying to break in. Using metal cutters.
Use the emergency power cutoffs. They'll have to shift to portable cutting gear, and that's much slower.
Aye, sir.
Cut the power. Rig the emergency batteries on the double.
Speaking of power, in the lab, Admiral Nelson has an idea.
Jake, give me a hand, will you? Put the rheostat over there.
Yes, sir.
What happens when battery cells connected in series are hit with more power than they can handle?
They burn out.
That's right. I think we can fight this thing's power with more power and short it out.
A rheostat is a device that you can use to adjust electrical flow. It's why you can turn a knob and dim the lights in your house. He's going to put a pair of electrodes in the water, start turning up the juice, and see how much it takes to destroy that piece. Then he can calculate how much it'll take to destroy the whole thing.
That's great. But how are you going to short out a thing as big as that out there?
I would charge power into the hull of the flying sub.
Have we got that kind of power?
2 A-33 atomic power generator packs. They're in the missile room.
Admiral, that's not going to be powerful enough.
It will be if I fly directly into its heart.
You know it has a heart because...
Missile room.
Missile room, Patterson.
What's your condition?
They're still trying to cut through the hatch, but that steel's pretty tough.
All right, break out 2 A-33 atomic power generator packs. Get into scuba gear and swim under the Seaview to the flying sub.
How much time do I have, sir? I've got a couple of gas grenades here that...
Will you forget it and get started?
Aye, sir.
It's a reasonable question. Will he need to use the gas grenades to buy time for all that stuff? Hey, Admiral, did you forget he's on your side? Okay, let's see how many things Patterson can do wrong. First wrong thing, he's looking in the wrong place. He needs to stop and think about what he heard. It sounded a lot like feet landing on the deck, which means the feet aren't in the vent. Second thing wrong, making enough noise with that gas grenade that he can't hear footsteps behind him. Third thing wrong, not watching his back. This is a really good scuffle. It's well planned and well acted. It goes on for a good long time and stays interesting. Right up to the end, there's no certainty about who's going to prevail. At least until Patterson does that. That's 2 crewmen they've had to kill because of this thing. He goes back to his task while Nelson and Sharkey have their own problems.
Question is, how are we going to get out of here?
Boy, we could sure use those gas grenades.
This should give them something to think about. Put on the gloves, Chief.
Aye, sir.
They know the electrodes destroyed the tissue sample, so at full power, what will they do to a human possessed by that thing? Like it or not, they're about to find out.
Go ahead, sir. I'll handle it.
While Nelson and Morton close the blast doors and prepare the flying sub, Chief Sharkey is completing that experiment he and the Admiral were working on.
Drop those things. I don't want to hurt you. Stay back. Stay back. Don't you see, Chief? I'm your friend. I'll make you one of us. No. Now, let me have them.
You might want to think about how you phrase that, Doctor.
No. No. Drop your hands. Drop them. Very good, Chief. Very good. Now,
He can't say I didn't warn him. Give them to me has much too broad connotations. If he had said hand them to me, that might not have happened. I keep telling these people they should listen to me. He had to fight the captain at the escape hatch door, but Patterson has arrived at the flying sub with the power packs, and Nelson has shown him where to attach them to the hull. As quick as Patterson gets back and is seated, they can launch.
Patterson, get out of your gear and give me a hand with the controls. Hurry.
Or not. Patterson said he had to hit the captain with a wrench and was afraid he'd killed him. Patterson may be overestimating his own strength. Fortunately, he's just strong enough to grab the captain so Nelson can subdue him. Crane is tied to the third chair.
Admiral, do you read me?
We're sorry. Admiral Nelson is unable to reply right now. If you have a message, please leave it after the... Holy sh...
Admiral, do you read me, sir? Admiral.
The Admiral was stunned, but only long enough for a commercial break. You have to love it when the big climax means the monster goes poof. Captain Crane had said that if they killed the creature, they'd kill him and the others. I'm sure that was the creature talking, and guess what? It told a fib.
Am I all right?
You're fine.
Oh, what about Dr. King?
He's dead.
Do you, think he would have been normal again if he'd lived?
He was never normal in the first place.
I think maybe there's a good reason why this was called the creature and not the monster. Because what they were facing was simply a creature. As so often happens in these stories, Dr. King was the monster. I'm still fuzzy about what his goal was. Why make this thing in the first place? It almost sounds like he wanted to take over the world with it. Just like everybody else with that goal, he didn't think anything through. If he had succeeded, he'd be buried in administrative stuff day in and day out, and that would not be fun. Imagine trying to write your daily reports on that stuff. Nelson has showed him where to and collect the... Hello, Fluffy. It's been... Spit all over yourself.